Drugs are bad. Don't do drugs. If you're already doing drugs, do them responsibly. Be safe. Be healthy. Don't listen to my stories and be like, wow, that sounds great. I should go do that. Don't do that. Alright, I'm here to tell some stories and share some experiences, whatever. Don't look to me for advice or influence, whatever. I'm not a smart person. I'm not a smart kid. But I've lived a weird life, and I think junior year was probably the most important year of my life so far. My 11th grade is about 6 years ago now. 17, 18 years old. So when I went back to school, if you watched my last two videos, you've heard me rambling about smoking and going back to school and hanging out with my friends. And well, that's what junior year was for me, is finally going back to school. I got a girlfriend. I started hanging out with my childhood friends again, or I guess, well, yeah, childhood friends, we'll go with that. Um, and well, I started smoking. I started hanging out all the time. I started to live, is how it felt, and I don't regret any of that. I mean, there's some things I feel like I could have done better, could have done smarter. There's some things that I feel like maybe set my life on a certain course that I wasn't really planning on at any point. Anyways, today I'm talking about drugs. Again, kind of. I haven't really talked about drugs. I've mostly been talking about smoking cigarettes at that. But alongside my journey of smoking, started to do acid with my friends a lot. The first time was with my good buddy. We'll just call him Jay because I decided yesterday I need to give a nickname for my friends and I don't want to like put their full names out there or anything for privacy or whatever. So we'll just call him Jay. That's my best friend from third grade when he moved to town. Just been best friends for years, and he was kind of, in a way, he was my influence into the lifestyle that I live or lived. He was the kid that came up to me in freshman year and was telling me about smoking, and he was the first kid that I knew that started smoking weed, and he's the first kid that I knew that took acid in high school. And granted, part of that is because I just didn't know very many people, but he's my best friend, and he was doing it or did it and he wanted me to do it with him, and not that he forced me to by any means, but I was young, impressionable, and wanted to have fun with my friends. I guess part of me, I feel like, wanted to be cool or seem cool or whatever. But the truth is, I just felt like I missed out on so much of my life not going to school up until junior year that I was like, fuck it, why not? I'm growing, I'm smoking all the time, I'm becoming a pothead. I might as well start taking some psychedelics. What's the worst that could happen? And I can't really say anything bad happened necessarily. I mean, sure, bad trips, whatever, but well, it started to become kind of a tradition, and looking back now, I think it was more of an addiction to that rush of that. I mean, if you've done acid, if you tripped on anything, you know what kind of rush. I mean, that's just what it is. It's getting high, it's feeling different, it's drugs, to put it simply. And so we did acid one weekend, and from that point on, it became like an every weekend thing. We were buying acid, dropping acid, tripping, not even like doing anything cool. We didn't go to like cool concerts or anything. We literally, I guess I was kind of lucky. We lived on this farm, or my mom, I should say, lived on this farm. And so we had a lot of land that we could just walk around and explore. So we would literally just wait all day long. Well, actually, most days, we would get out of school, go buy some acid, walk over to a Dairy Queen parking lot, drop our tabs, wait for my dad to come pick us up and drive us to my mom's house, and then we would just go from there and do whatever. And it was great. It was wonderful. I feel like it brought us closer together for a while, and I feel like eventually it tore us apart. But no, it kind of became a tradition to just take acid every weekend. It kind of just became our thing. And I really never thought it would be, because the first time I did it, it was fun for sure. It was not anything special. I remember we dropped it at like probably like 10 p.m. or something, late at night, because we were waiting for my mom to go to bed and whatever. And my friend tells me, he looks over at me and he goes, "Once we do this, we're not leaving your room for the rest of the night. We're going to get everything we need in here. And the only time we're going to leave the room is to go smoke on the patio, because smoking a cigarette when you're on acid is heavenly." And this was, I think, his second time tripping. He had done it like one time before that. And so to me, he was a damn professional. He knew everything. And I was like, "All right, yeah, sure. Sounds good, man. We'll stay in the room all night, whatever. Find some movies, whatever, get some like art supplies and shit." And in reality, that didn't happen. We were in and out of that room, in and out of the house all fucking night long. I'm really surprised my mom didn't wake up and come yell at us, because we were just rambunctious, loud fucking teenagers tripping their fucking minds out. And I mean, it was great, man. It was a great time, honestly. Anyways, it was a weird point in my life. I feel like I keep kind of repeating that in these videos, that it was a weird point in my life, because I feel like that 17 to 18 or 16 to 18 is such an important phase of mental growth. And I spent that whole time just doing acid and smoking pot and not giving a fuck about anything. And that's, you know, I can't really say that sucks, because it happened. It's done. It's fine. It's over now for the most part. I don't really do psychedelics anymore, but I've thought about that a lot, on how much that may have affected my brain growth, or my just personal development as a whole. And I I can't really say whether or not it actually had. I mean, I can say it definitely had an effect on my life for sure. There's no way it didn't. It's a brain altering substance. But I think I turned out pretty okay for the most part. I guess I just kind of wanted to talk about it. I've been talking about smoking, I've been talking about my friends, and this just a big part of the life that I've lived was on drugs. Like every weekend, literally every Friday, we used to look. And that's why I say I think it kind of became an addiction, because I remember going to school on Mondays and I was like, man, I can't wait for Friday when we get to go get some more acid. Like, I was always just looking forward to it so much, and that's not a good thing by any means. I know, I don't really think acid is like a super addictive drug. I don't think I really got withdrawals from it. I remember having some horrible come downs, like the first time I took acid, and the day after, all I wanted to do was fucking vomit. All I could, like, I couldn't move, I couldn't think. So I am here to say, like, don't do drugs, don't do acid, don't do anything that you shouldn't do. I'm not influencing. I keep saying it was great, it was fun, it was whatever, but don't do it if you're not already doing it, or you're not planning on doing it. Don't do it. Or if you do it, do it in moderation. Don't be like me and do acid every fucking weekend, sometimes just a day apart. It's not fun. It is fun, but it's not. It doesn't turn out that fun in the end. You end up kind of chasing that same feeling over and over and over, and you're never going to find it. You can up the dosage however many times you want. I think it's important, because it truly affected my growth. It truly affected me, who I am, why I'm here, and I kind of just been tiptoeing around it in these videos, because every time I start to talk about my friends and I start to talk about smoking, I kind of trail off into these stories of doing acid or doing mushrooms and getting dumb fucking high. And well, yeah, like I said, I think it's had a big effect on my development of my brain, my thought processes. Just, I think my brain was kind of fucked from the get go. I think there's a lot of influences that fucked my brain from the get go, but I don't think doing a ton of psychedelics throughout high school really helped with that. And especially, like, I remember winter break. I think I spent my entire winter break of junior year, or somewhere around there. Maybe it was spring break instead. Spent it just on acid on mushrooms, whatever, the whole fucking winter break. It was like do a tab one day, wait a day, or get through the shitty feelings of the come down, then do two the next day, and then just keep the train going. Instead of having like any spiritual revelations like people tend to use psychedelics for, or at least I think I know like mushrooms and whatever people use them to have revelations about their. So I remember I had a conversation with this kid in the bathroom, and we were just me and my buddy Jay were talking about doing acid, and this kid comes over and he's like, "Oh yeah, dude, I do acid like at least." Once every like 3 months, or when I'm in a really bad spot, I like to take a trip and just it helps me get through whatever I'm going through. And I'm like, huh, never thought about it like that. I just like getting fucked up and not being able to think, or I guess thinking too much. So it was kind of a weird perspective to be in, because for me it was I guess a party drug, but I was not a party kid. It was just me and the homies. I don't regret doing it. I would probably never do it again because I've had some bad experiences that just kind of pushed me away from it, and I think that's part of why I stopped hanging out with people in general, is because of those bad experiences. And I don't know if I really want to talk about that today. I think I'll save it for another video. I think today will be more of a broad, just more about me. Point being, drugs are fun. Don't do them because they're bad for you and it'll fuck your brain up. If you're a young, impressionable kid that's watching this, please take my advice about not doing them. Don't listen to me telling these fun stories. They're not fun. I'm glad I never got in trouble for being high as fuck. I don't think my parents, if my parents did know, they didn't really seem to give a shit. And I think that was a big problem too. I love my parents to death, but god damn, do I feel like they neglected me into a point of like I talked about yesterday, my mom buying me cigarettes and things. Like, she was never hard on me to do better or be clean. She was just like, okay, that's fine. And I mean, at a certain point, she wasn't even there half the time. It was just me and my friends and whatever drugs we could get. I should not say that because I have not done hard drugs. I've not done, literally my limit has been weed, alcohol once in a while, and acid. Well, acid and mushrooms. And I guess I did DMT once too, but that's a story for another day. Anyways, I just had a lot of free time. I had a parent that did not give a shit what I did, and I was off probation, so I was not forced to live with my dad anymore, which was wonderful for me because it meant I could go to my mom's house, which was like just freedom. It was genuinely, truly just freedom to do whatever I wanted to do whenever I wanted to do it. My mom didn't give a shit. She was working as a bartender at the time, and so she would always give me like $20 for lunch money, and I would just save my money all week long to buy either some more weed or buy some acid for the weekend, whatever. And I never like stole out of her purse or anything, but it's kind of a surprise. I think she caught on at a certain point because it's like, why are you asking me for $20 every day? Lunch can't be that expensive, whatever. But like I said, she never cared. She didn't question it. She just would go with it. She always had cash from tips as a bartender, and just wanted her kid to be happy because that's what a good mom does, kind of. It's weird. Like, a part of me wishes that my parents would have been a little more hard on me and would have been like, "Hey, do good in school and don't fuck your life up running around with your friends getting high all the time." But at the same time, I'm so glad I was able to fuck my life up and run around and get high with my friends all the time, because it was wonderful. It was so wonderful. It was so carefree and just blissful. And I say that with these like rose tinted glasses on, because in reality, I was fighting with my girlfriend all the fucking time. She hated well, I shouldn't say she hated my friends, but she hated that it felt like they were such a bad influence on me. And to a degree, they probably were, but my decisions were my own to make. It was never, ever like a peer pressured into doing it. Just, I wanted to do it. I didn't have friends. My real life friends had all grown up and moved on and started smoking and whatever. and I guess part of me felt left behind, so maybe there was a bit of a peer pressure in that feeling of like, damn, all my friends are doing all this cool stuff without me. I missed out on so much because I didn't go to school with them, and now I'm here, and I was like, I felt like I got to catch up, you know, and that's not a good way to think about it. That's not, like I said, my choices were my own. I wanted to get high. I wanted to do acid. I wanted to trip all the time. I wanted to be fucked up. And it led me to some problems. Like I just mentioned, me and my girlfriend fought all the time. I remember one of the worst fights we had. This is kind of a funny story to me now. My buddy Jay from third grade, my buddy H, who's another one of my best friends, and we're walking through the middle of the street, and I'm texting my girlfriend, and she's all pissed off at me about being high on acid, and she's like, you're doing it too much, your friends are on bad influence on you or whatever. And I literally responded to her, and I was like, I would love to continue this argument, but the emojis are swimming across my screen like a fishbowl, so I'm gonna go do something. And that's the last time I talked to her for the rest of the night. And let me tell you, when I talked to her in the morning, she was not happy. And I think that was kind of nice that I at least had somebody trying to hold me accountable as much as I didn't hold myself accountable. And thankfully, I never got into any trouble with the law or got like hurt doing stupid shit. I had a good group around me that we all kind of had each other's backs about things, and some of us were smarter than others when it came to like, oh, dude, we should totally jump this fence and go walk around here. And then I'd be like, hey, just because we're high as fuck doesn't make that any less illegal. Let's not do that, you know? So I feel like it was a interesting friendship dynamic. But we all kind of, we all had our moments to keep each other in check about certain things that we should and should not do. I think that was good. And I think it was good that my girlfriend tried very hard to keep me accountable for my actions and my just everyday doing, or every weekend doing for that matter. But because like I said, my parents really didn't, and not that they would have even known, you know, I can't tell you how many times I was sitting next to my dad in the car while I was slowly starting to trip, and he's like looking me dead in the eyes, and I'm like, oh my god, he totally knows. My eyes are so fucking dilated. He totally knows. And then drops me off and says, I'll see you on Monday, and it's all good, you know? It was very, very interesting to me, or just weird to me as a whole, that it was, I wasn't okay. Like I feel like if he would have known, he probably would have had my ass out the door, you know, would have not let me stay with my mom, which granted, I say stay with my mom, but like I said, she wasn't really home all that much. She would work at the bar until late at night, and so if I even saw her, it wouldn't be until like 10 p.m. or later. And you know what? I loved it. I think that's like every teenager's dream, is to just have ultimate freedom to do whatever they want. And as much as like I keep repeating, I loved it, it was horrible. It was so bad for me. It was so bad for trying to get my life on track. Like I feel like I mentioned that in a couple of videos, that I really have no idea where I'm going with my life. That's kind of why I started this YouTube channel, because I feel pretty fucking worthless, man. I am like, I just that's not what this video is about, but I think this is a contributing factor to my feelings of worthlessness, is how much time I spent just wasting away, which I say that, but I enjoyed it. I don't regret any of it. I will constantly repeat that over and over, that I enjoyed wasting away. I enjoyed wasting my life away doing stupid drugs with stupid people. And I love my stupid people. They will always be my best friends. Whether they were truly bad influences on me or not, they were my best friends. They've helped me through a lot of tough times. They've always had my back. And so it was just a part of our growth, I think. I don't know if it was necessarily set in stone like I talked about yesterday, but I don't think there was much I could have done that would have changed that. I think that's just kind of who I am, who I became, or how I came to be, was being easily influenced by my friends and wanting to, I guess, I think like I said, or I think like I mentioned, is I wanted to fit in to a degree. So this video went on way longer than expected. It's now the morning after I'm home from work. I just kind of wanted to do like a little wrap up at the end here. maybe straighten out the timeline a little bit, because I watching it back, I realized I don't know, I didn't like misspeak, but it might be a little confusing to a degree. So in junior year, I finally went back to school and I met my girlfriend. She inspired me to actually go to school every day, and because I was going to school every day, I started hanging out with all my friends again and started hanging out every day after school, walking around, etc. And then I got off probation in like the winter, I believe, after like the first semester. And I think it was in February that I took acid for the first time, and that's where it sort of all began. I'm not sure how fast it picked up. I can't really remember. Maybe because I'm tired, maybe just because my brain is so fried from doing it so much. But, anyways, don't do drugs, or do them in moderation. Be healthy, be safe, and I love all of you. Thank you so much for listening. Go check out some other videos. I got a whole lot of just talking, rambling, just like this. And I will see you guys maybe tomorrow, maybe on Monday. We will figure it out. So, again, thank you so much for your time. Be safe. Love each other. I love you all. Good night.